Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This week I'm doing another tag. It's a long time in the making. I was tagged about 2 to 3 months ago and I had to do some digging in order to answer one of the questions. So what's the tag? It's a childhood writing tag created by CrisTeenWriter. I was tagged by Justin from the other side, so thanks Jay for including me and for being patient on my response. The questions and Justin and Chris's answers are available down below, so be sure to subscribe to their channels because they share really awesome content. Now on to the questions. Number 1. When and why did you start writing? I kind of mentioned it in my authortube newbie video, and I can't remember the actual age, but it might have been around the time that I was 7 years old, maybe 8, and my little sister and I were tasked with writing a kid's book, and I was confident that I should be the one writing the story instead of drawing the pictures. Funny enough, I think around that same time, there was an old, possibly broken typewriter in the back of a closet that I would always get in trouble for because I would pull it out to play with, but I was always in such awe with it. Number 2, what is the first story you remember writing? The first actual story I wrote, if I'm remembering correctly, was about a group of witch guardian sisters, and each sister could control a specific natural element. There's 4 of them for each of the elements: fire, water, earth, and air. The story starts with them trying to live their life again after surviving a horrible battle that took the lives of 3 of their older sisters, leaving the sister with the fire ability the oldest and in charge. But then the sister with the air ability gets kidnapped by one of their nemesis henchmen, who were a group of demon men who were literally like their counterparts. So think like Powerpuff Girls and the Rowdy Rough Boys. Also, fun fact, the Powerpuff Girls were originally called the Whoop-Ass Girls, which is fitting. Anyway, that story's long gone. I lost the notebook that I was writing it in, and I remember trying to turn it into a script during Script Frenzy, rest in peace. And I was about 50 pages in when my computer crashed. And when it rebooted, it turns out I had only saved at 5 pages in. So the moral of the story is back your shit up. And no, not just your booty. Number 3, what was your first full project that you finished and when? If you have finished one. I started a lot of projects in my childhood. Unfortunately, I never finished any during that time, but one of the projects that I started back in 9th grade, I did finish about 2 years ago, and it's the project I'm self-publishing this year, which I'm excited to share with you all. So subscribe and follow me on social media for details. Number 4, what genre did you most enjoy writing as a child? Has it changed over time? I read a lot of YA fantasy and paranormal romance, so that's what I stuck to. Naturally, as I got older, it has changed. I still like writing the paranormal and the romance and the fantasy, but it's no longer YA. My stories have grown along with me and they're now new adult fiction, sometimes still centered around teens, like actual teenagers. Number 5, do you remember the first negative feedback you got on a story? I don't know if I want to share this. Back in 8th grade, I started a fan fiction of 2 demon clans trying to relocate because of some imminent danger, and the 2 leaders from the separate clans decide to spend the night in an abandoned castle. This story included heavy petting, no actual sex scenes. It was one of those enemies to lovers and there was only one bed tropes. And this girl read it and told me it sucked. But it doesn't end there. She decided to go out and buy the same blue notebook with a flower on the cover and write erotica stories in it and share them with everyone. So when everyone saw my blue notebook, they kept asking, OMG, are you reading What's-Her-Face's story? Isn't it good? The experience left me never wanting to share my writing again. But later, someone who had read both of our stories told me he preferred mine over hers because hers was just smut, while my story had actual plot that kept him engaged. More proof that reviews save careers, guys. That actually just motivated me to write that story again. We'll see. Number 6, who was your favorite story you wrote as a kid? For fanfiction, it's definitely Inuyasha, but he was very OC. He still had the same snotty attitude, but like a total sweetheart at the same time. When it comes to my own characters, I believe I put a lot of thought into them, so it's hard to just pick one. It's kind of a toss-up between 2 of the characters from my novel that I'm releasing this year. The first is Veronica. Throughout the narrative, she's this complete mystery, and it was fun having my protagonist learn more about her and about the truth of what's going on, even though I already know everything. The other is Estelle. She's the protagonist's bestie. She's a combination of a few people in my life, and it was important for me to make her this fun-loving sweetheart who's hiding some serious problems going on in her life. So hopefully I do them justice and you enjoy them when you read the book. Number 7, read us some old writing of yours. Okay, this is why it took me so long to do this tag. I had to do some serious digging to find this. I started this shortly after reading Twilight and it has some serious Twilight vibes, so thank you for being patient with me. It's called Dream, like that's how. It even has my maiden name on it. It's typed because I got into the habit of that after losing my elemental story, which was solely in a notebook. If you're curious, my process is to handwrite everything and then type it up later. And it worked out in this situation because I have no idea where the notebook is to this. Chapter 1, The Stranger. I stood in front of the school waiting for my usual ride to appear. The sun was bright above me, and the sky as clear as glass, fooling anyone into thinking it was a warm sunny day if it were not for the fact that it was a mid-November. I hugged my warm jacket closer to my cold body and let out a breath of air, watching as a fog formed in front of me and then dispersed. This happened to be the only form of entertainment for me at the moment. I hated the cold weather. It was nothing like the breeze of the Florida air where I once lived happily with my family. Leave it to my dad to get a job offer all the way out in Manchester, Connecticut, where I used to live, by the way. I no longer live in Manchester, but I'm still stuck in cold as fuck Connecticut. Also, I don't care for Florida. Alicia! I looked over to see a boy about my age waving his arm wildly, obviously trying to get my attention. I moaned and rolled my eyes when I realized who the boy was. It happened to be Alexander Collins. The most bothersome boy I've known since my move here with my family only 2 years ago. Well, him and about half the other boys at our school. Almost everyone knew he had a crush on me. Not like it mattered to me though. We're gonna end there. Number 8, what parts of your writing have improved since then? My writing voice has improved. It's now my own. That's the most important one. I also learned to think and be like my characters. Each have their own individual personalities, and they're especially not supposed to sound like me. So I'm glad that's changed over time. I also learned that I don't like writing in past tense. It took years for me to figure out, but I'm happy I did. Number 9, are there any parts of your stories that haven't changed? I'd have to say that the paranormal, supernatural, and fantasy stuff is still there. There seems to always be some demon or ghost or boogly creeping around my story, just like I like them. And lastly, number 10, if you could tell your childhood self one thing, what would it be? I would tell myself that there's nothing wrong with having an overactive imagination or living in a fantasy world. Everyone who told you that bullshit is unhappy now. So karma. All you have to do is make sure you write it down, all of it, and keep it safe and back up your files. No, seriously, for the love of everything holy, don't forget to do it. And that's it. Did you enjoy hearing my responses? Cool, because I'm tagging some of you. I want to hear about Joey Paul's, Rob Castillo's, and TehBuggy's childhood writing experiences. Shout out again for Justin from the other side for tagging me and for CrisTeenWriter for creating the tag. Again, both their videos are down below, so be sure to give them a watch and to subscribe to their channels. And remember to subscribe to my channel for past and future videos. Turn on your notifications so you never miss an update from me. And follow me on social media where you can see me complain about my cat, Peppercorn. As always, thanks for watching. Until next time.